and Napoleon's soldiers are the ones guarding it, protecting it.
Try to anyway.
Well, when Africans in America, up north and in the South, ran from slavery, they didn't run to the north. That's another lie. No free African would run to the north because they would be sent right back to the South. Where did you run? You ran into another country. You jumped the border and went into Florida, and the Native Americans would greet you. This is called the Seminole tribe. They exist today. Seminoles. Matter of fact, their whole culture is based on runaway slaves coming in. The whole thing. Now, Haiti gets independence, kills all these Frenchmen out and says Haiti's the first black republic on the Western Hemisphere, end of story. Napoleon's so pissed off, and now he's lost respect, lost power in that region. He sells the whole thing to Thomas Jefferson for $15 million. Thomas Jefferson basically, now get this, okay? There is at least 500 nations in this basin of America, Native Americans, blacks, all kind of whites. Everybody's living in this little basin. Now imagine you've been living there all your life in this basin, Florida. You're in a Seminole tribe, everything is good. Suddenly you see the French soldiers leave. All the French soldiers leave. Now, here's what it was before in Florida, okay? African Bourbon monarchy. They were importing Irish and Dutch white men as slaves. The Dutch and the Irish, they're slaves with black taskmasters, beating them, whipping them, doing all kind of stupidity and inhumane treatment to Dutch and Irish men and women. Africans are doing this. And Native Americans. When Thomas Jefferson purchased Florida, South Carolina, New Orleans, and Mississippi, no one knew that. There was no television, there was nothing. It's just power was handed over. Napoleon said, we will no longer protect these people. That is what is called the Louisiana Purchase. There was no land ever purchased in the Louisiana Purchase. There's no land purchase. It is a payment for Napoleon not to attack America in these regions. The population doesn't know this. And now you get what is called the Ku Klux Klan, the 76ers, and the Night Riders. Dutch and Irishmen. You read some of Thomas Jefferson's early stuff. He says, we are going to liberate the people. And he had a name. Twice he said it. Once it was New Orleans, he had another name. He was right. White men were slaves in Florida. He, white Englishman, or a European in that sense, is going to free his Dutch and Irish brothers. He runs up on the Native Americans, run up on, the wars, the whole thing to take that basin. Napoleon's army's gone, they slaughter the people, end of story. The 76ers, the Night Riders, rise up right there in that basin. Mississippi, South Carolina, all that down there. They start riding. Why? Where they getting their weapons from? Where we just all you see in the movies is white men with a gun. No, the guns were issued by the military. Militia, right. Which is why the Constitution, this idea of the Second Amendment, they say the Second Amendment is your right to have a gun. That's a lie, another lie. The Second Amendment, the only reason to make a militia was to put down slave revolts. That's why the Second Amendment exists. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with Americans owning and having guns. It has to do with slave revolts, that militias are able to come together to put down the lawlessness of the slave. Of course, this is real American history. On the other side to it now, come to now America's invaded this portion of it, now its land. It kills all the elected officials. Kills them. Assassinations, coups, coup d'etats, all that occur. The blacks that are there flee. Some go to Europe, Caribbean, some spread out in the United States, others fight it out, the whole 9 yards. Now, blacks, Native Americans, and whites are still owning blacks, Native Americans, and whites. Okay. The problem then is this.
The fleers, were they slaveholders or were they slaves?
Oh, both.
Okay.
Both.
Right.
Both.
Okay.
Both. Like Hakim pointed out, the Iroquois already had this particular system of government in place.
Since the 1100s.
Since the 1100s. They already had this government in place. Proof of this comes more psychologically and spiritually. You can also prove this in historical documents.